Good morning and welcome to the final meeting of the Nevada Silver-Haired Legislative Forum for this interim. For those members attending virtually, please turn on your cameras and respond when you hear your name. Madam Secretary, please call the roll. If a member is not present, please record that member as present when he or she arrives.
Ms. Starden? Ms. Martinez? Mr. Fulmar? Mr. Silberkraus?
Present.
Ms. Johnson?
Present.
Mr. Linden?
Present.
Mr. Larson?
Present.
Ms. Bongiorno? Mr. Slaughter?
Present.
Mr. Thorne?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Ms. Daniels? Dr. Schonkweiler?
Present.
Ms. Doyle?
Present.
Ms. Coffrin?
Present.
Mr. Troth?
Present.
Ms. McAdoo? Ms. Levitt? President Jordan?
Present. Did you get Ms. Warren Journal?
She raised her hand.
Okay, I just want to make sure because we didn't hear from her. We have a quorum. Before we get started with business this morning, I just want to take a personal note to say that let us keep our Northern Nevada residents, families, and friends who have been devastated by the Hawk Fire in our thoughts and prayers. We have a lot of people who have experienced something devastating, and we want them to know that they're not there alone. So thank you very much for that. Now let us welcome members of the audience in Carson City, Las Vegas, and those joining us online. During today's meeting, we will hear from stakeholders about the Social Security program, as well as about senior veterans experiencing homelessness. And after that, we will have our work session to discuss and vote on recommendations for our one bill request, among others. For some housekeeping items before we really start, I would like to make several announcements. First, I would like to remind everyone to please silence all electronic devices while in the hearing room. Members of the public may provide testimony in various ways, all of which are listed on the agenda. We will have two public comment periods, one at the beginning and another one at the end of the meeting. You may also submit public comment in writing, either in addition to testifying or in lieu thereof. If you wish to testify in person, please sign in at the table by the door and leave a business card with the secretary. When testifying in person, turn the microphone on to speak and off when you are finished. And as we have listened to and reviewed meetings from Carson City online and thereof, please also state and spell your name for the record. Anyone who would like to receive electronic notification of and access to the forum's agenda, minutes, and final report can do so by going to the legislative website and following the links. To access today's exhibits online, you will need to create an account on the legislative website. Instructions for doing so are also available on the website. All forum members have access to hard copies of the meeting materials in your binders on your desks. Members of the public may use hard copies of the exhibits available at each meeting location. One meeting is video conference to Carson City. Members may also participate virtually over Zoom. I am asking members on Zoom video to call to keep your cameras on and microphones muted until recognized to speak. To ensure an orderly flow of discussion, all comments, questions, and responses must go through the chair. Finally, members, please complete the order forms on your desk as soon as possible, and staff will collect them. Depending on how long today's meeting goes, we will either take a lunch break or take our lunches to go. Before we begin our next agenda item, public comment, I would like to take a few minutes for the forum to welcome our newest member, Mr. Paul Larson from Senate District 8. The Legislative Commission appointed him in June. Mr. Larson, please introduce yourself, identify your nominating senator, and share your interest in the forum. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was appointed by Senator Dodaro. My background is I'm a regulatory attorney. I've been doing that for approximately 35 years. So I've actually been in this room several times, usually on that side of the dais. But my interest in this forum arises mostly from your good work in past sessions, past iterations of the forum. I don't intend to speak much more than I'm speaking now this morning. I'm intending to learn as much as I can and carry that to the next iteration of this forum. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. But I appreciate the time to introduce myself. Thank you.
Welcome to the forum, Mr. Larson. While this is the last forum meeting of this interim, you have joined us at the right time to make important decisions on the recommendations before us today. With that, we will move on to the public comment. Agenda item 2, public comment. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Forum members, please keep in mind that public comment is reserved for members of the public. When providing public comment, clearly state and spell your name for the record. We will start with public comment from those in physical meeting locations and then move to public comment from anyone who has a call-in. At this time, is there anyone in Carson City who would like to provide public comment? Is there anyone in Las Vegas who would like to provide public comment? Seeing none, our staff from AVH will interact with those calling in for public comment. AVH, please add any caller with public comment to speak at the meeting now.
Thank you. If you would like to participate in public comment today, please press *9 to take your place in the queue.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Dora Martinez, DORA MARTINEZ, and I represent the Nevada Disability Peer Action Coalition. And Chair, I was delighted to see your work session with transportation and among others. People with disability and who are senior citizens as well need more access to transportation. We appreciate everything that all of you do, but people who are living experience of lack of transportation are in need of more. Sorry, can you guys hear me? More money with the taxi, if they're going to have taxi vouchers. One example, during the fire, the Hawk fire, my friend needed to go to store and she could not get a taxi or RTC access bus to come and get her because she was on the yellow zone. And if she had enough money, enough taxi vouchers, she would have just gotten a taxi instead of a bus. So please bear this in mind with people who are seniors and people with disability. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for that. Do we have any other callers?
Yes, one moment, please.
Are you able to hear me? Good morning, President Jordan and forum members. My name is Marcy Cooper-Smith. I'm a senior and I live in Sparks, and I'm here calling in today on agenda item 6B. And I would like to thank this forum for addressing this critical issue for those seniors who are living on a fixed income. You know, we keep hearing that everybody wants seniors to age in place, but a lot of us are no longer to afford a place to age in. And so we are hoping you will really consider moving forward with this for a BDR. A consideration might be a pilot program, which would consist of multi-year leases with built-in increases. You could give a senior a 2-year lease, let them know what their rent will be for 2 years. It may not be perfect, but at least it would be some way to start. We keep hearing that everything is going to take 2 to 5 years, and a lot of seniors keep asking the question, well, what about now? We don't have 2 to 5 years. So this pilot program might answer the question, what about now? So please consider that as you do your work session. And thank you so much for your support and representation of the senior community.
Thank you so very much. That is definitely something that we will consider and look into. Do we have any other callers at this time?
There are no other callers to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you so much. Seeing that there are no more callers, I would like to remind us this morning of our purpose. The Nevada Legislature created the Nevada Silver-Haired Legislative Forum under Nevada Revised Statute 427A-313 through 427A-400 to identify and act upon issues of importance to aging persons. Our work is on behalf of Nevada senior citizens. Thank you very much. Now we will get started with the first item of business, the approval of minutes. Agenda item 3, approval of the minutes for the meeting of April 23rd, 2026. Forum members, do you have any questions regarding the minutes? Then I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the forum meeting on April 23rd, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Shilkraut?
I second.
Mr.
This is
Shilkraut
Kathy
has made a
McAdoo.
motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
This is Kathy McAdoo. I second.
I have a second from Ms. McAdoo. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. We will now move to our first presentation. Agenda item number 4. Update on the status of the Social Security Program, administrative and fiscal challenges, and the program's long-term future. We will hear from Mr. Story and Ms. Pedron. Thank you very much this morning for coming.
Madam President, members of the forum, my name is Todd Story. I'm the State Director for AARP of Nevada. We appreciate being invited again for the second time this year and appreciate the coordination and collaboration with the forum on these issues that are critically important to those over 50 in Nevada. In our agenda today, we will talk about Social Security as it is now, the long-term future of Social Security, and then address Social Security customer service issues. Social Security has 71 million beneficiaries nationally and 629,000 here in Nevada alone. In both cases, that's around 1 in 5 people. In Nevada, 37% of seniors rely on Social Security for at least half of their income, pretty close to the national average. 16% get all or nearly all of their income from Social Security. And Social Security is the biggest anti-poverty program there is. It lifts over 130,000 seniors out of poverty every year in Nevada alone. We see the importance of Social Security in our surveys as well. This is from the public opinion survey we conducted last year for the Social Security 90th anniversary. Over the past 20 years, reliance on Social Security has grown significantly among retirees. Looking at the dark blue area, nearly 2/3 of retired Americans say they rely on it substantially in 2025, up from just over half in 2005. And only 13% say they don't rely on it at all in 2025. So we see clearly that Social Security isn't just a supplement, it's the foundation for retirement for many. And Social Security isn't just important to people, it's also important to the economy. The payments themselves inject $1.5 trillion into the national economy. But that's just the start of the story because people spend those Social Security payments right back into the economy by using it to pay their rent, buy groceries, etc. As a result, Social Security has what's called a multiplier effect. Every $1 of Social Security benefits supports $2 in total economic activity. Nationally, that means it supports 12 million jobs and 2.6 trillion in economic output. And in Nevada alone, it supports over 68,000 jobs and $13 billion in total economic output. With that as a quick background, I'll turn to Social Security's long-term future solvency. Because we know there's a lot of misinformation and confusion out there. AARP launched My Social Security on August 14th because too many Americans are not familiar with their account, and we need to change that. We encouraged people nationwide to create that account. As long as they are eligible and of age 18, they can access their Social Security account, look at how many credits they have, and when they will be able to retire. When we get into the questions about Social Security's future, we often think it's helpful to take a step back. We just finished celebrating Social Security's 91st anniversary on August 14th, and the pictures here are from our even bigger celebrations last year for the 90th anniversary, because for 9 decades, it hasn't missed a check. That is a remarkable record of success. While it does face some challenges we'll get into, at the same time, it largely works very well, and it bears keeping that in mind.
Members of the forum, thank you so much once again for having us here and to support the presentation thus far from our State Director, Todd Story. I just wanted to share last year for Social Security's 90th anniversary here locally in Nevada, we actually held 3 separate celebrations starting in the Summerlin area, Henderson, and our grand finale in Reno. To make sure that there was representation in some of our key engagement areas with our membership. Social Security, as we all know, is the most popular program in American history, and we plan to protect it and preserve it. So moving into the current financial status and information that you requested today, we just wanted to share the revenues for Social Security. They're mostly from payroll taxes. So according to the Federal Insurance Contribution Act, FICA, 6.2% of those earnings up to the Social Security cap from paycheck, payroll, go into Social Security directly. Small portion also does Medicare, and depending on other variables, some folks pay a different percentage. The trust funds for Social Securities is at 2.6 trillion at the end of this year. And it is invested in U.S. Treasury securities, which is the safest investment in the world. Social Security is a program that has been widely regarded and carefully shepherded by those who oversee it. And it's slowly currently being drawn down to help pay the current beneficiaries. So AARP has had their eyes on this for some time. And now we want to move into discussing what happens in 2034. So because Congress is usually reactive, not proactive, we've already started applying education and pressure from their constituents because Americans have made their voice loud and clear on it. So we just want to talk about what's coming ahead if no action is taken. So Social Security can pay 100% of those promised benefits until 2034. But if no action is taken, it will have to reduce those and make a significant cut to 83% of benefits at that time. Across the board cuts, it's not just going to be for new beneficiaries, it'll be for everyone in the program. To dispel any doomerism, though, we do want to make it clear it's not going broke, it's not bankrupt because of those incoming FICA taxes, and it is not a driver of national debt. It cannot spend money it doesn't have by design. So that's why AARP vocally used our membership power in previous efforts to strip funds from Social Security to make sure that it was not put into a debt commission, because taking money away from Social Security has no impact on the national debt. So policy options, currently, some of the ones that are available that are being discussed is raising revenues or cutting benefits, or, look outside of Social Security. What Americans want to see happen and what AARP keeps their pulse on is, we talk to adults every day, older adults, we talk to their families, their loved ones. We do a lot of work on caregiving. So we really have a holistic view on this. And the message is loud and clear across party lines, across rural and urban divides. There is zero appetite for cutting Social Security benefits for themselves or for those to come. It's your money, you earned it, as we like to remind folks. Especially true in the face of a retirement crisis and a broader affordability and cost of living crisis. As our state director earlier pointed out, a significant portion of Nevadans and across the board throughout the country rely on Social Security for all, if not most, of their monthly income. And this would tremendously hurt and create crises of new proportions if there was cuts to those benefits. So this is surveys confirm bipartisan majorities want Social Security strengthened, and they don't want to see it cut. Lots of options that can raise revenue necessary to guarantee full unreduced benefits are available, but AARP isn't in the middle of any partisan fights. We just want Congress to discuss it and to reach a solution together. We just want them to not ignore it until it's at the very last end of the line. So moving forward, the other thing we advocate for tremendously, outside of being a wise friend and fierce defender of these benefits and other issues that affect our members, when it comes to Social Security, the Social Security Administration, funding and staffing is a huge issue. Customer service is a problem. We don't want folks giving up and hanging up because they've been on hold forever, or calls dropping, or other related issues. People need to be able to access their benefits. They need to be able to access that information. So what's currently happening is the Social Security Administration is doing more with less. They're chronically underfunded and understaffed. And there are ways to address this, and AARP is always bringing that to light. And we want to hold Congress accountable and those in charge accountable to make sure that the staffing levels are where they need to be. As of right now, nationally, it's been reduced from 57,400 to 49,700. In Nevada, it's been reduced from 260 to 233. 43 states lost at least 10% of their staff, including 12 states that lost 15% or more. And with all those folks calling in that want assistance over the phone or who may have a more complex case, this is critically important. Not all Social Security things can be handled online or through an AI chatbot like we've seen in other. This is Social Security. This is not some private institution. It needs to be widely accessible to those who earned it. Moving forward, we do have a little bit more information. So the Social Security Administration faces increased workload with fewer resources with that breakdown that I was discussing a little bit. So the customer service budget is down 23%. So this is the direct interaction with beneficiaries or with those who are trying to apply for their benefits. And that's a major issue. The staff cuts that I just went over are reflected here. That's a 26% cut that we're looking at from 2010 to 2026. So in these last 16 years, we've seen major reductions. And the amount of beneficiaries is up 28%. So if you really put into account the reduction with the increase of those seeking services, you're looking at a much larger problem than what is initially assumed. Moving into more detail, those phone wait times that I referred to earlier, the average speed of an answer is single digits, but the callback wait time is about 41 minutes and 60, if not 60 or more as of last year. Over a fourth of callers aren't getting served at all. As a matter of fact, I recently helped my mother apply for her benefits, and we planned out basically half the day to be aware. And on the line, the first thing they tell you is call volume wait times on Mondays and Fridays are particularly high. Try to call in the middle of the week and call early, because if you are on hold, regardless of how long, and you reach that cutoff time, you won't get served at all. So it makes it very difficult for seniors, including those who are still working. Remember, we have an unretirement trend in this country, and lots of folks are continuing working or returning to the workforce due to cost of living or whatever reasons they may have. Appointment wait times are an average of 35 days. That's over a month. That's a big deal for folks who need assistance immediately. Disability wait times are 6 months for an initial decision and 9 months for a hearing. And then phone service restrictions proposed and then walked back due to AARP's activism and voice on this were also a concern. So I just want to highlight that on the national level, AARP is the #1 force on this and will continue to be as an advocate, not just for our members, but for Americans as a whole. And with that, I just want to let you know that we are available for any questions. And if I may have a point of privilege, I just want to highlight that here at the state level, we are very proud of our active membership base. We actually had several members come testify in this very room last week for the Seniors, Veterans, and Adults with Special Needs Committee on our crypto fraud ban that we are pursuing to protect Nevada consumers against rampant crypto fraud with crypto ATM kiosk. And we are open and looking forward to the work that this forum is doing and that our legislators are working hard on for any policies that will benefit seniors and can reach bipartisan support on everything that seniors are facing here in Nevada and their loved ones. So with that, I will yield the floor and be available for any questions. Both of us are here at your disposal. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Padron and Mr. Story, for the update. At this time, are there any questions from forum members?
Yes.
The floor recognizes Mr. Slaughter.
Frank Slaughter, District 11. Well, thank you for coming. Some of my concerns this morning, you laid to rest as far as the solvency of Social Security, as far as one of the things, last week we heard that we have $40 trillion in the red when it comes to our national debt. And I always wondered how that affected Social Security, because, we're just lay people. But yeah, you're telling us that it would probably be solvency for the next what, 20, 30 years?
Until 2034, it is
Yes.
fully funded, or through the chair to Mr. Slaughter. Through 2034, it'll be fully funded, and we are working to highlight to members of Congress the importance of taking action through other policy solutions to ensure that it remains fully funded after that date as well.
Yeah, and one last question, what improvements would most help Nevada seniors in Social Security?
Well, I think the first and foremost would be increasing staffing. That's an issue across the country. And we hope that through our national advocacy and highlighting here at the state level some of our Nevada specifics on those recipients, we can work with our colleagues across AARP's vast staff and volunteer and membership to highlight that and amplify that not only to state leadership, but all the way up to Social Security Administration federal leadership, which AARP does meet with regularly and try to amplify any of the major updates and things that Americans need to know.
Thank you, Mr. Slaughter. Are there any other questions? Forum members? Ms. Darden is recognized.
Can you hear me? I think you can. First of all, thank you very much. You put to bed.
can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
The mic. Oh, you turned it off. All right.
It's my age. Okay, are we good? Okay, thank you very much for putting to bed a lot of, I'm Donna Darden from District 1. My District 1 people are really consumed when it comes to are we bankrupt? So thank you for putting that to bed. I was just wondering, this is a fabulous presentation, short and to the point. Do you do these presentations for anyone else?
Through the chair to Ms. Darden. Actually, I'm glad you asked that question. That's a wonderful question. We at AARP Nevada have a wonderful Speakers Bureau program, and it is run completely by our volunteers. So we have trained volunteers that do community presentations upon request on a number of issues from Social Security to Medicare to fraud prevention to some of the other pivotal issues that are of concern to seniors. They present at various groups, HOAs, anywhere that we are invited. If we have the capacity, we will attend. So yeah, if anyone wants to follow up afterwards, we are more than happy to connect on that and offer our Speakers Bureau at your disposal.
Thank you very much. We will be talking.
Thank you so much, Ms. Darden. Are there any other questions? The floor recognizes Mr. Troth.
Roger Trotham, Senate District 8. Thank you for coming and doing the presentation. Slide 4. If we go back to that and showing the increased over a period of time, the dependency, I'm going to use that word, on Social Security for retirement. Does AARP do anything to try and encourage, educate, train, whatever, people to be better prepared for retirement? That's a significant amount of people that are depending, I think, too much on the government Social Security for their retirement programs.
Yes, thank you, Member Troth. Todd Story for the record. So we do, and that was part of the kickoff on August 14th, was to encourage folks across the nation to get familiar with their Social Security account. Some people have no familiarity with it and don't know where they are and whether or not they have enough credits to even qualify for it. So they need to become familiar by going to ssa.gov, creating their account, and seeing where they are in their pre-retirement journey and where that will leave them once they're eligible to retire. So all of that information is available to every one of us with a Social Security number and account. You just need to go set it up, understand where you are currently and what you'll need to do to prepare yourself.
Okay, does AARP provide other avenues for people to understand other parts of their economic situation to be prepared for retirement?
Indeed, yes. Todd Story for the record again. So we have a number of different resources that we can provide directly to individuals who are interested. We will also coordinate with various financial institutions and advisors to educate individuals on the information that they need to know as they start to look at retirement. One of the things that we know within AARP and that we are doing here in the state of Nevada is reaching out to younger generations so that they're not facing retirement imminently and that they can prepare in advance. So while we focus on the 50 and older population, we are reaching out to those who are in their 40s and their 30s to encourage them to get more familiar with retirement, to start thinking about it, start educating themselves on what the options are that are available to them, whether it's through their employer or their own individual retirement accounts, something that they need to do and what the options are that are available. We will be partnering in the coming months with some other organizations to provide legal documentation, right? As people start looking at wills and trusts and all the things that come into account that we all need to be prepared for in life. And so, yes, we do that frequently across the board and as much as we can every year.
Suggestion, hey, can you lower your eligibility to like 25?
So
and start and
yes,
start.
Thank you for the question, Todd Story. For the record, again, actually, you only have to be 18 to be a member of AARP. Like I said, we just focus on the 50 and older, but we welcome anybody who's over 18 to become a member and enjoy our volume of discounts and other programs that are available.
Okay, thank you, because that leads to, you know, we aren't preparing, I think, too many of our younger generations aren't thinking about that. They all think, well, the government's going to take care of me. And I think we need, just a personal thought, we need to change that. This is a lot of money. And, you know, you go and you talk about, you know, we just gone through some significant fraud, waste, and abuse discoveries that's been going on for decades. And we talk about the use of money. So you go to your slide 13, the staffing levels. Are some of the reductions that you note here on page 13, were those some of the federal government's cuts that came out of some of the last budget?
Yes, Todd Story for the record. Yes, indeed, that was the budget that was proposed and the cuts that were part of that budget that were across the board in many instances. Social Security was not spared, and so they thought they were looking to reduce what they considered waste. As we can see with the growing numbers of individuals who are eligible for Social Security, it keeps increasing and the staffing levels are decreasing. It's going in the opposite direction, forcing those who are seeking Social Security to have to wait longer, not have their questions answered, and stringing them along as they try to get access to the benefits and the funds that they have richly earned.
Thank you. Last one here. Does AARP advocate to replace those, or do you all have any advocacy to increase the efficiency of the government system doing it? You talked a lot about phone systems online. There's got to be some other ways to help push prod, and I know some of that has to be done through legislation, which, you know, Congress is notorious for not helping. Does AARP advocate some of those improvements in some of your advocacy?
Todd Story for the record. Yes, we do. And we don't make recommendations necessarily on the efficiency aspect. We certainly want government to be as efficient as possible, but we also think it owes and has a duty and responsibility to the individuals who, again, have paid a lifetime into this program to be able to access those funds as easily and efficiently as they also can. We do think that the funding needs to be restored. We'll have to watch and see what the president's budget includes and whether or not it is going to increase funding for customer service or remain flat or possibly even decrease. We don't know at this point in time, and then it will be up to Congress as to how that gets funded.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments.
Do we have any other questions?
Yes, I have one.
Mr. Slaughter?
Well, you're educating me a lot today. My question is, does Social Security adjust for, say, cost of living in different areas? Like, say you lived in Mississippi or New York?
Yes, so Jessica Padron for the record. So COLA, cost of living adjustment, every year, it goes into the Social Security program. So recipients get a notice ahead of time of what that adjustment will be annually to reflect any cost of living changes. So across the board, everyone sees that to reflect those changes and hopefully support them with any inflation or other things that affect their monthly income and those costs to survive.
Thank you, Mr. Slaughter. Mr. Larson, did you have a question?
I did. Thank you very much. For the record, Paul Larson, representing Senate District 8. Ms. Padron, you talked about policy solutions regarding the solvency issue for 2034. Could you highlight exactly what AARP is advocating to address that issue?
Yes, Jessica Padron for the record, through the chair to the representative from District 8. We actually do not advocate for a specific solution. In order to foster those bipartisan conversations, hopefully something where everyone can come to an agreement, something can pass through Congress, we strongly urge them to do their job, really. Which is bridge those divides. There are several options on the table, and AARP actually has discussions on this on our website, articles going in depth and some resources on several of the most popular solutions on the table on both sides of the spectrum, on the more conservative and more progressive side. There are various solutions on the table. Congress just is refusing to act on them at this point. So our goal and our mission is to spread national education to dispel any myths and fears about Social Security going bankrupt or myths and fears of it feeding into the national debt, which are both untrue. And then also making sure that the constituents of those members of Congress put the pressure on them and let them know, hey, Social Security is something that I am widely supportive of, which is true. Polling shows that across the board. And we want you to take action to protect the levels as they stand. So a couple solutions on the table, none of which that we specifically propose, include things like lifting the wage cap, which after you earned a certain amount of income, which I believe is around 163 currently, 163,000 annually. Once you get past that number, there is no payment into the Social Security program. So that is one solution, lifting it, removing it. Another solution is reducing the benefits, right? The amount that is going forward. We do not, we think that it is very important to find ways to continue funding it, but there's a variety of things on the table, and it's just up to Congress to have these discussions earlier rather than later. And a great example of our continued advocacy until we saw changes was what we saw in the last few years with action taken to reduce the cost of some life-saving medications and drugs such as insulin. There's a cap now on the expense. Not that we have a horse in the fight with any industries involved, but because we know it's a life-saving necessity for older adults and their families. So AARP is just here to be a wise friend and fierce defender for our members, for Americans across the board who are facing these issues, but we don't push Congress, at least on this issue, for a specific solution. We just push them to act.
Madam President, if I could jump in as well, Todd Story for the record. Thank you for the question, Mr. Larson. Congratulations on your appointment to the forum. I just wanted to add two things. AARP is adamantly against cuts to the program. We think that Congress needs to find other solutions. We have not endorsed any of those solutions. There are a number of solutions that are out there, and there are sure to be many more to come in the conversation. The other thing that AARP is opposed to is having anybody outside of Congress come up with that solution. So there have been a couple of bills that proposed commissions outside of Congress. We are opposed to those. We think Congress has to do its job. It was elected by the voters to do, which is to solve the issue before we hit the 2034 deadline as outlined by the trustees.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Are there any other questions? I have a question. Marilyn Jordan, District 9, for the record. Given the current national situation on affordability, I'd like to know if the number of citizens at age 62 have increased for requesting services.
Through the Ms. Chair, Jessica Padron for the record. I don't have that specific number at the moment, but if I understand you correctly, your question is if there's been an increase of older adults who are requesting their Social Security benefits at an earlier age of 62 rather
That's my
than waiting
question.
for full retirement age. That's something we could definitely look into with our vast resources, and I would be happy to follow up and submit that information to the members here so that
I would
everyone's
like
aware.
that update because I think that we need to look at that data. When we look at the decreases, we need to look where the increases are coming in, because if you're dealing with less is more, it's about time that we address where we are at age 62. Because in the past, in looking up past experience on this particular issue, I note that we did not have a lot of people signing up at 62, but now people are in need, and I'd like to know that answer. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair,
The chair recognizes.
Madam Chair.
Yes, the chair recognizes Ms. McAdoo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Not to try to get us distracted from Social Security, but while I have AARP here to answer a question, I volunteer at the Senior Center in Elko about 35 hours a week, and we get a lot of questions about that AARP safe driving. Do you still offer that in Nevada? We have seniors trying to reduce their automobile insurance. It's so expensive.
Madam Chair, Todd Story, in response
Thank
to
you.
Member McAdoo. We continue to offer them in person in Reno and in Las Vegas. In fact, we were just training a whole new cadre of volunteers in our office yesterday who will be working here in Southern Nevada. We also offer it virtually. If anyone wants to participate, they can sign up virtually through the aarp.org website, and they will look for driver safety. They can find virtual options that are available to them to enroll in and participate in the class and get a discount on their auto insurance. So the options are available if you want to do it in person or if you want to do it virtually. It's up to the individual, but yes, we continue to offer that program.
Yeah, and as you're aware, Elko is at least a 7.5 hour drive from Las Vegas and a 4 hour drive to Reno. So would they just get on the AARP Nevada website to look for the virtual enrollment?
Madam Chair, Todd Story for the record. Yes, indeed. That is what they can do, is go to aarp.org/NV and look for the driver safety program. It's available there. They can sign up for virtual options. And there are many. There's always, they're happening every day and every week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. McAdoo. Mr. Slaughter?
Yes, I just have one more question, and this is an observation. AARP offers silver sneakers, right, to go to gyms? Yes, they do. And one of my observations I made, and this is maybe for the national one as well, I know a lot of friends or a lot of people that sign up for one gym, another gym, and another gym, and they're paying these gyms for people that aren't coming. For instance, when I was going to Orange Theory, I was paying something like about $150 a month. But I didn't like it. It was too fast for me getting older. So I went to 360, which I paid like $10 a month. So I had, silver sneakers pay that. But I made sure I canceled my other membership at the other club. And I think if you look nationally at people that are using this service, you might find a lot of unused payments to gyms. That's just an observation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Slaughter. On behalf of the forum, we want to thank you once again for taking the time to present to us. And we've heard some very interesting new information, but I'd very much like you to keep us updated as to where we're going with this issue, because it is something that will be part of our future and our senior citizens' futures. So again, to both of you, thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
We will now move to our next agenda item, agenda number 5, an overview of programs and resources for unhoused senior veterans. Ms. Devine, Director of Nevada's Department of Veteran Services, we will hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, President Jordan, members of the committee. We are just making sure that you can see our slides.
We're fine. You might want to just speak up just a little so everybody can make sure.
Okay, we are just making sure that our slides are presented. They're here on our screen, but they don't appear to be presenting for, there they are. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come and speak to the forum today. I have with me Mr. Mark Prezina, the Interim Deputy Director for Benefits. And what we will provide to you today is an overview of a little bit of the entire program, and then Mr. Prezina will give you some more information on exactly what we're doing with our homeless veterans. Next slide is our mission and vision at the Nevada Department of Veteran Services. We really are committed to the mission and vision of supporting and serving our veterans and their families to make sure that we connect them to all benefits that are available to them. And when I say all benefits, that means their federal benefits through the federal VA, our state benefits, and also connecting them to our nonprofit partners, which provide a variety of services. This is a demographic slide that shows you what do the veteran population look like in Nevada. We currently have about 217,000 veterans in Nevada that are receiving some form of services from the federal VA or from the state of Nevada. That accounts for, like I said, the population of veterans that we know of, but we also know that there's a large portion of our veteran population which is referred to as untethered veterans. Those are the veterans that have not been introduced to their federal or state benefits, and we focus a lot on what we do to support those untethered veterans as we work throughout our communities. I'd like to also point out that our World War II veterans are, as one would expect, dwindling in population. But one really exciting story that we have is this Friday, we have the opportunity to honor Dr. Bruno at the Northern Nevada Veterans Home. Dr. Bruno is a World War II surgeon who will be celebrating his 105th birthday with us this Friday. So amazing gentleman. And if you're not doing anything, you want to do something, 10 o'clock on Friday, we'll be having birthday cake with Dr. Bruno. The other demographic here that I'd like to point out is our growing population of women veterans. Nevada is definitely a growing population in the women veterans area, and we are working a lot with various nonprofits within our community and with the VA to recognize the special needs of our women veteran population. And if we go to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about the lines of effort for what the department is looking at. Mr. Prezina will talk a little bit more in depth, like I said, on our benefits line of effort. He'll talk to you a little bit about our veteran service officers and our homeless programs. A little information about Mr. Prezina. He is a U.S. Air Force vet, retired as a Chief Master Sergeant. He doesn't know that I was going to say that, so he's giving me the look. I'm very proud to have all of the members of our team. We have a large number of members on the Nevada Department of Veteran Service team that are veterans, that are committed in the community and helping with our veteran population. One part of what makes the department very strong is our partnership, not just the partnership with our federal VA, but the very strong partnership that we are building with our nonprofit partners. And those are from very small nonprofits all the way up to very large nonprofits, such as U.S. Vets and multiple other communities throughout the Nevada landscape. As we talk about the benefits piece, I do want to hit on our veteran service officers. The criticality of our veteran service officers is that those 25 will soon be 25 veterans they are the front line of connecting veterans to their federal benefits. And that's critically important, whether it's the first contact with a veteran, as I said before, as an untethered vet that has never connected with anything to do with their veterans benefits, or as we work through each special population. And by special population, I mean that can be a tribal vet, that can be women veterans, that can be LGBTQ, that can be our homeless, our underemployed, and multiple other populations of veterans that just need that extra conversation of how we get them from where they are to being connected to the benefits that they have. Another portion of our lines of effort is our healthcare services. In your packet, you have some information more detailed on what we provide in relationship to our 2 skilled nursing facilities, one in Boulder City with 180 beds and one up here in Northern Nevada with 98 beds. Those are beautiful, both very beautiful facilities. Very happy to have them. They provide an amazing service. Our Northern Nevada facility has a wait list of 48 veterans that are looking for care in our Northern Nevada facility. Our Southern Nevada Boulder City facility also has a wait list, but again, their capacity is at 180 beds. Their wait list usually hovers around 7 to 9. The other things that are within our healthcare services are our suicide prevention program. 2 weeks ago, we had a great suicide awareness run with our partners at the Nevada National Guard and multiple other community partners, where at the Sparks Marina at the Veterans Memorial, we had about 600 community members come out and really celebrate and talk about what we can do within our Northern Nevada community to support behavioral health and the things that go and are associated with that. That is to support survivors and other different types of behavioral health issues that are out there. We also, in that healthcare services line of effort, take care of any unique healthcare needs, meaning how do we help and support caregivers? How do we help and support all of the community that it takes to help our veterans in all the different ways? I do want to point out one last thing in this area. With transportation partners, I know that you will be taking a look at some transportation issues. We do have community partners with DETR, where we provide a grant to DETR to get bus passes for underemployed veterans and veterans that need access to those centers or transportation to job interviews and things like that. We also have a robust partnership with both the DAV and the VFW, as well as Fisher House down south and Guest House up here in the north, to make sure that if we can provide grant funding to them specifically to transportation and other veterans' needs, we are very happy to do so. We take a look at the next slide, which is where we will talk a little bit about our program development. There are three specific lines of effort there. That is our collaboration with veteran service organizations. That extends beyond the large veteran service organizations, DAV, VFW, American Legion, Paralyzed Vets, Catholic War Charities, multiple other organizations that we partner with. But it really is providing a space where we come together and collaborate to see what we can do to draw all these resources together to make sure that there is no wrong door for our veterans that need services at any age or any stage in life. We also work this is where our strategic engagement and our strategic community and partnerships come in, and as well as our intergovernmental relationships. That's where we talk to housing, employment. We talk to DMV and multiple other state and county municipalities to make sure that we are pulling together those resources for our veterans so that we can make sure that if they need assistance, we have a quick line to respond. One example I will give you is just less than a week ago, I received an email from a veteran that was in peril down in Pahrump. She reached out at 5:30 in the morning. She was having trouble with her car, with employment, with housing. And between Mr. Prezina's team and our community partners throughout the entire Las Vegas Valley, we were able to respond with the VA, with nonprofit partners, and get that veteran help within about 7 hours. So those are the individual things that we're working at and we're looking at, as well as the programmatic things that fall into our strategic planning processes. The other thing in this area is our administration. We have a robust finance team, our human resource team, which does manage our entire staff, which is over 270 employees, both state employees and contract employees that work at the Southern Nevada Veterans Home, as well as we have about a contract staff in Northern Nevada for the State Veterans Home of just over 150 employees. So the Nevada Department of Veteran Services is a fairly large department that has a lot of responsibilities as we relate to the 217,000 veterans across the state. I'm also very happy to say in our grants and contracts area, when I took over just over 2 years ago, we had about $167,000 in grant funding. As we sit here in front of you today, we have just breached the $5 million mark in grant funding to support our veterans. We are taking advantage of funds from Resilient Nevada. We also have funds from the Rural Health Transformation Grant. We are waiting on a response from the Fox Suicide Prevention Grant, and we have a number of other grants that we have worked with. That is in the area of homelessness. It's in the area of rural health, mental health, opioid reduction, and many other programs. So I'm very proud of the team at NDVS and our nonprofit partners for what we can do in collaboration. We have also worked on our facilities. You will hear more about what we have going on at both the Northern Nevada Veterans Home in the State Public Works ask that we move forward with. Actually, that briefing is tomorrow, and then we will have all of our facilities. We are working very diligently to make sure that we have state-of-the-art facilities for our veterans. This is an overview of kind of where we sit. We have 3 skilled nursing facilities. 2 are currently built. 1, we are waiting for the funding from the VA. Those facilities are built with a 35% state fund and 65% federal funds. We have 12 veteran service officer locations across the state that will expand with our funds that we just received from the Rural Health Transformation Grant. We will pick up locations in Laughlin, Gardnerville, more in Elko, and we are doing some feasibility studies for areas like more in Pahrump and more in all the other rural communities that we have out there. We have 2 veteran cemeteries, one in Boulder City. Mr. Perzina will talk a little bit about those. One in Boulder City, one in Fernley. And I would like you to know that I'm very happy to say that the honors that are provided to our veterans in Boulder City, we are the 2nd busiest cemetery in the country, state cemetery in the country. Chris Naylor and his team have the honor of interning anywhere between 8 and 12 veterans every day, Monday through Friday. And we also are partnering with the VA next week, next Friday. We have the honor of opening up a federal cemetery in Elko, which to that in Elko on the 3rd. Yeah, on the 3rd of September, we will have a Veterans Open House at the Elko Museum between 5 and 6 o'clock, where we'll have the opportunity to hear open comments from our veterans population up there in Elko. And the cemetery up there is going to be a very beautiful place, and we have the honor of one of the first internments up there will be our own Mike Musgrove, who passed away just recently and was an 18-year leader on the Veteran Service Commission. This also provides you a little background on kind of where our funds come from and about what our budget, our non-general fund budget is. And with that, the next slide really does provide you, it's for your information on the Boulder City Home. Again, 24-hour facility, 180-bed skilled nursing facility. And the facility is beautiful, but it's 24 years old. It's a little tired. It's time for a remodel. So we are working on that right now and waiting for that funding. Again, the next slide is our Boulder City, or is our Sparks home, which is only 6 years old. If you have not had an opportunity to visit, we would love to host you, let you walk through there. Our resident council president, Wally, proudly refers to his room as the Nevada Suite because it's shaped like Nevada. And he says it's the best place he's ever lived, and he loves it. And the community there is a pretty amazing thing. So with that, I will turn the microphone over to Mr. Perzina, and he can talk a little bit more about the things that we do on the VAST team.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Forum. Mark Perzina, P-R-I-Z-I-N-A for the record, Interim Director for Benefits for Nevada Department of Veteran Services. As Director Devine stated, kind of a joint overview of kind of what we wanted to provide today to get to, obviously, when Angelina reached out and asked us if we'd kind of present and on our homelessness portion, we kind of want to give you guys a quick overview, and then we'll get to that in the end. But as you know, she did speak about both cemeteries. Sorry, I got the slides going. Fernley's, we got a committal building being put up, should be done by December 14th, improvements there. Boulder City CIP project tomorrow, multitude of improvements to keep it going, to keep everything where it needs to be. It's amazing. I tell the story not like the director does. But you know, when they go into the homes, it's pretty much their last home, you know, when they enter. And we have the honor, once it's no longer their last home, to move them to one of our either Fernley or Boulder City for their final resting place. So it really ties in and hits hard when we get up every morning and we do what we do. But I'll just give you a quick overview. Our VAST team is pretty much our outreach department. 20 plus VSOs that tie veterans to their benefits, continually working to get service-connected disabilities to the veterans that they deserve. Obviously, there's not enough VSOs, accredited VSOs in the state of Nevada, and we're doing everything we can in the department to increase that number to help tether veterans to their benefits, both through the state and the VA. Our community outreach programs, as you see here, employment, education, housing, the transitions assistance program when they're coming out, and then, like Director Devine mentioned, the targeted areas. This team every day, not consistently made up of veterans that work for the department, give it their all. It's amazing to watch them and what they do on a daily basis to help the veterans in the state of Nevada to better themselves and better their lives after leaving service. The homeless program, I have one outreach homeless coordinator down south, and she's extremely busy. This program is growing. The stats that we wanted to provide to you from the VA, there's a by name list down in Las Vegas, 66 veterans are over the age of 55. So the story that this individual has is when we do the outreach events, especially at any of the homeless events that we go to, the spot checks, the surveys, the ride-alongs, a lot of the homeless don't want to admit they're a veteran. And we don't know if that's because they don't want the help, they're embarrassed. So us trying to tie homeless veterans to resources takes a little bit. And I think the average is about 3 contacts per individual. You have to gain their trust. And by that third time, they'll actually tell you that they are a veteran, which in turn opens up the resources we have to help. So I've asked Maria to take a hard look at this down there with our partnerships, US Vets, CARES Campus, Campus for Hope, and start really tying in the age-specific demographics for veterans that are homeless. And so that's kind of our initiative going forward. And there's just not enough resources in the day for us to get out and see everybody we need to see, but we're trying. So the priorities: engage unsheltered at-risk veterans, increase access to permanent and transitional housing. Our community partners are amazing. Statewide collaboration with housing providers, continuums of care, law enforcement, healthcare, and then the kicker going down the road with the veteran is prevent them from becoming homeless again. And we're working really hard, social workers and medical providers, to prevent that one decision that's going to make you become homeless again. So our initiatives, like I spoke about, expand, strategic partnership with housing providers, and then regional homeless coalitions. VA, we have such a great relationship both north and south with the VA and in Salt Lake City. So if they need something, we can get them, like the director said, that was about 7 hours to get a family off the streets down in Vegas and get them taken care of. And then just moving forward, statewide partnerships, and then enhance employment and housing initiatives. So that pretty much concludes my portion. Director, I don't know if I missed anything that you want to hit back on.
I'd like to come back to a couple different things. Transition housing is very important to us all the way around. We have been working with Director Acroft and his team to make sure that the veterans that are eligible for different types of housing, we are connecting our veterans to the right locations and helping walk them through the process. Mr. Prezina mentioned that there are just not enough veteran service officers to cover all 217,000 veterans that are out there. We also have a robust volunteer program. We are working with multiple partners on that. You will see through the course of the next year that expanding into a program called the Pathfinder program. So we'll have veteran advocates and pathfinders. We are using kind of weaving together multiple different types of grant funding, gift fund funding to create positions, both volunteer and paid, that will be that first line of support to work with veterans of in all levels to make sure that we are pointing them at all different types of services that there are available to them. Mr. Prezina also hit on something that's really important with the veteran population. We're a stubborn bunch, veterans. I can honestly say after 37 years of service, when I left my uniform behind, if I did not take this position as a director of veteran services, I would have been one of those untethered vets. Because I would have believed that those, and I had the firm belief that the veterans, the benefits that were available through the VA were for someone else. They weren't necessarily for me. And we run into that a lot. So that 3 to 5 contacts with each veteran at any stage of their transition from active duty service, retirement, or at any phase of life, it's very important that we get out there and we not only have online resources and web-based resources, but those tabling events where we send our outreach teams are critically important. And just having that constant face. We recently celebrated, well, I guess not recently, it was about a year ago, we had an event for recognizing the end of the Vietnam conflict. And I was leaving the event and this amazing lady pulled me off to the side and asked me if I would stop and talk with her husband, who was in service during the Vietnam era, but would not connect with any of his benefits. And when I had the opportunity to talk with him, he kept repeating to me over and over, yeah, I served during Vietnam, but nobody shot at me, so I don't deserve any benefits. And we've had that kind of contact over and over. So that's why you see, and I'm in great appreciation to the legislature, that we are an ask the question state. We ask the question, have you served? And when you ask the question, have you served, that's different than have you deployed or many of the other questions that identify military service. That allows us to have the information to reach out and contact those veterans differently and have them connected. I would just say, again, it has been a distinct honor to leave my military service and be the Director of Veteran Services and to continue my services to the veterans of Nevada. If there's anything that we can do to help you as you move through the next session or prepare for the session, we are definitely here to provide you any information that would be helpful. With that, that concludes our portion. Thank you.
On behalf of the forum, we certainly would like to thank you, Ms. Devine and Mr. Prezina, for this wonderful presentation. As we close out our interim session, we are just extremely pleased to have had you join us this morning with this very relevant and informative presentation. At this time, do we have questions from forum members?
In the north, Madam Chair.
The floor recognizes you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the questions I have, sitting here listening to this great information, thank you again for bringing that forward. As veterans, do you guys get any kind of advantage when you go to, or a veteran goes to a housing authority and applies for housing? They've got these huge waiting lists. Does being a veteran help move them up the list?
Director Devine, for the record, I am not an expert in the HUD-VASH voucher system. I do know that both in Reno and in Las Vegas, the VA provides a voucher system and for veterans to have assistance with rent and through the housing authority. I would have to defer a lot more information. We can get back to you on what happens with that. I do know last year and a half ago, through the Las Vegas VA, they petitioned and applied for an additional 100 vouchers, which is very difficult to get. Within a week of them receiving those additional 100 vouchers, they were gone. So there is definitely a need, and we are seeing an uptick in community partners that want to provide affordable housing to veterans in all of our communities. So is there priority given? Not necessarily. However, there's definitely interest all over the state to provide affordable housing to veterans.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The chair recognizes Ms. Doyle.
Madam Chairman, thank you very much. And thank you, Ms. Devine, and both of you for your presentation. This microphone's kind of far away. Kathleen Doyle, District 16. I have a couple of friends that were really impressed with the Veterans Home up in Sparks, and it's really beautiful. I've been there. I had a friend that was in there, and they've expressed an interest in volunteering there. I suppose they should contact the Department of Veterans Services to find out about that. And also, what other volunteer roles are there? Is it mostly administrative? Is it, I'm sure for the skilled nursing part, you have to have a medical background, but is there a lot that one can do just being, a regular citizen?
Mark Brzezina for the record. Thank you for that. Volunteers are one of the reasons that place is what it is. The activity directors and the events that they have over there are all run by volunteers. And I will leave you my card before I leave, but please, anybody that would like to volunteer specifically for there, I will get you in contact with their brand new activity director.
Thank you. I just also want to say I have a friend who was in the military, doesn't want medical services or any services because he wasn't deployed. He just worked in an office, so he thinks he doesn't deserve it.
I'd like to, Director Devine, for the record, I'd like to chime in on one thing. One of the biggest things that the volunteer activities are, Mr. Brzezina is 100% correct, but one of the also amazing things about both of our skilled nursing facilities is the veterans just want to talk to people. So there's so much that can be done by sitting in town hall or at town square or just walking through the home just to sit down and be interested and engaged in what the veteran has to say. And I would tell your friend that those office people got the pointy end of the spear to where they needed to go so they could fight. So we needed all those office people and all those logisticians and mechanics and everyone else, so our front end of the fight could make the advances that they did. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We also want to thank Ms. Doyle for her question. At this time, the chair recognizes Ms. McAdoo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to tell you a big thank you for the Veterans Cemetery being built in Elko. I know that our community and our veterans here are so grateful for that. I also wanted to know, for some reason, my ink pen quit working when I was trying to write the time down for your meeting here on September 3rd at the museum. Was that 5 to 6?
Mark Brzezina for the record. Yes, ma'am. Over at the museum, it'll be from 5 to 6.
At the museum. Okay.
If you need any more information, just hit our website and the flyer's right on there. Veterans.nv.gov.
Okay, I'll get on there. And is the service for Mike Musgrove, has that date been set? There in the
Mark Brzezina for the record.
cemetery.
We're working, due to it being a federal facility, there's some other things that we need to do as a state entity to honor Mike and his family. We are working hand in hand with the VA and the central office to get all the paperwork finalized to get that done. I cannot, it's not going to happen this week, but I promise you there will be an opportunity to go out there and celebrate Mike when he's placed on there.
I believe that. He was just extremely well-known in our community and the senior center, so I'd want to make sure that I let the senior center know. I'll be looking for the date. Thank you, and thank you for all you do for our veterans and for being a veteran. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ms. McAdoo, for your remarks. At this time, the chair recognizes Mr. Slaughter.
Frank Slaughter, District 11. Where do you think the biggest gaps in services for older vets are?
Director Devine, for the record, I think that there are a couple of different gaps. One is the transportation to medical care. One is affordable housing for our veterans. And one of the ones that we are really looking at right now is the potential of food insecurity across our communities. So we will have more information on all three of those likely before the legislative session kicks off. I anticipate having a much more robust briefing for anyone that would like to hear it in the December to January timeframe. We've got some capabilities coming online later this calendar year that will allow us to give you much more fidelity on the numbers and the types of things that we're seeing across the veteran community. But those are the three biggest ones: transportation to their medical care, affordable housing, and the potential of food insecurity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Slaughter. Do you have any other questions? The chair at this time recognizes Mr. Troth.
Thank you, Roger Troth, Senate District 18 in Las Vegas. Thank you for the information. I'm a veteran. I wasn't totally, I appreciate your information because I wasn't totally aware of all that you folks do. I've dealt with the VA quite a bit. The relationship between your function and the federal Veterans Affair, are you able to, I guess, because there's not a lot of VA offices, are you supplementing and helping? Obviously, you're steering people towards their VA capabilities and benefits. Is that some of the significance between you and the Veterans Administration? Is number one question.
Director Devine, for the record, Mr. Prezina's team with the veteran service officers are primarily the team that connects veterans to their benefits. So if we step back in your question about the VA, so if you are a veteran that's just been either retired from active duty, returned from a deployment, released from the National Guard, or something like that, if you go to the VA to get connected for your VA disability, they will help you file a claim, but they don't follow your claim all the way through. Where the team of 24 veteran service officers that Mr. Prezina has will follow you from the initial, I like to call it head and shoulders, knees and toes, internal organs of designing your claim, where they will walk you through everything that happened in your service medically to help you outline what your claim and what your potential injuries are, and they will hold your hand from start to finish through that process. Means initial claim, any supplemental claims, if there's any hearings that would happen. Our veteran service officers through the Department of Veteran Services have legal representation through an organization called NVLSP, and I can't remember what their acronym stands for, but we will represent those veterans all the way through all phases of their claim at no charge to that veteran. And they will continue to stay with that veteran until their claim is adjudicated to the veteran's satisfaction.
Awesome, thanks. That was good clarification for me. Second question is, your issue with homelessness here in Las Vegas, Southern Nevada, I would encourage you, if you can extend and get some more people helping that, contact with a lot of the veterans, and I, especially think the first one-term military people, they get lost in this concept that because you weren't a combat arms person is baloney, and I wish we could dispel that issue with a lot of our veterans, that just because you weren't getting shot at, you weren't important and valuable. So I understand you're working on trying to expand that. I would encourage that. We have too many homeless vets here in Southern Nevada. Thanks. That's all I had.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions, Mr. Troth?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments.
Fred Silverkraus, District 5. As individuals, as we encounter people in our daily lives that have a unresolved curiosity, if you will, as to whether or not they qualify as a veteran. They've served military service in one fashion or another, but have never been made fully aware if or there are any benefits available to them, up including interment. What would you suggest as an entry portal for them to find out if they are literally have benefits available to them that they've never been made aware of?
Director Devine, for the record, thank you so much for the question. There's a couple different entry portals. One would be on our website, we have a thing called Ask a VSO. They can actually go on there and type a question, ask a VSO, hey, this is who I am. Can you help me with any benefits? I would also say this is where our collaboration and partnership with the VA comes in. There's also an opportunity on the VA website to ask the same question. We're at all of our outreach events, and we have some, coming soon resources that would be available to our veteran population in getting the word out more to the veteran population to find out what veteran services are available. One area that is also out there that we get a lot of questions on, under NRS 417, we have the duty to help any veteran who needs a discharge upgrade. That could be anything from they were in service during maybe the Don't Ask, Don't Tell era, and they were put out under other than honorable conditions, or potentially they had maybe a conduct issue in service and they were put out with an other than honorable. One of the other services that those 20 plus veteran service officers do is work hand in hand with those veterans to work on a discharge upgrade so that their benefits that they would otherwise be eligible for are now open and eligible to them again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Schildkraut. At this time, we will acknowledge a question from Mr. Smith. You had a question?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Since I guess maybe has your budget overall been affected since the big beautiful bill? I know your funding comes from many different sources, but in general, I guess, has it been affected?
Director Devine, for the record, actually we have about 14 different funding sources that the Nevada Department of Veteran Services is funded through. Some are VA, some are, there are lots of different sources. But I would say no, our funding levels have not been impacted. When the federal government was going through a lot of the things that they were going through at the beginning of the fiscal year, our funding was secure because the VA was exempted from that. So our VA per diem payments kept coming and things like that. Again, we are a uniquely funded organization. We have the gift accounts. The legislature has seen fit to provide us with 8 separate gift accounts for each of our different operating areas, and we use those to expand programs for our veterans. And last week, the Committee for Aging Veterans and Adults with Special Needs progressed a request for a bill draft request for the department to have a 501c3 nonprofit to support our department. I look forward to sharing that information. Chair De Silva has a lot more information on it. The ability for the department to have a 501c3 similar to what our universities have with their alumni chapters and things like that would allow the department and the associated nonprofit to compete in philanthropic worlds that we cannot compete in right now. Those philanthropic worlds would open up the doors to multi-million-dollar grants that would support our veterans community, that states like Florida, California, South Carolina, Colorado, all of them have different types of these. But I would strongly encourage, if you are interested, to take a look at what Florida is doing with their nonprofit, an association between their department, they call it Veterans Affairs, their Department of Veterans Affairs, and the philanthropic organization that they have created, and what it can do to close the gap for veterans. So thank you very much for the question.
Welcome, and that was great information to have. I didn't know that that was in the works. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Smith. Marilyn Jordan, District 9, for the record. We would like to congratulate Mr. Bruno on his 104th birthday, and we would like to extend that courtesy to you. And on behalf of the forum, Ms. Devine, we would like to thank you for your many years of service. It's been a pleasure to have you this morning, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future. Thank you so much. At this time, the forum is going to take a 15-minute break before we go into our work session. Thank you so much to our presenters this morning, and we will sign off now for 15 minutes. But our 15 minutes are almost up, so we'll get a moment so everybody can get back in place.
At the end, last agenda item, you can ask.
Thank you so much for that little break. At this time, we're going to address agenda item number 6, our work session. We will begin the work session. Members should have their work session documents in your packets. It's also posted on the forum's website. The work session documents contain a list of various proposed recommendations. Here's page 7. Mr. Ashton will explain the work session process for the new members and as a reminder for returning members. After that, he will walk us through each recommendation in the work session document, and we may vote to approve or reject them. After each recommendation on the work session document, Mr. Ashton will turn it back over to me, and we will then vote one way or the other. Mr. Ashton, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan. For the record, Patrick Ashton with the Research Division, a Legislative Council Bureau.
I apologize, I just have a question. Are our only choices what are in this document as far as the recommendations?
These are the work session document. This is what I will go over right now. These are the recommendations that are proposed to the forum. You as the members, you can go ahead, take each item in this document. It's subject to further discussion, modification, or action. And I hope that answers your question, Mr. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Thank you.
So again, my name is Patrick Ashton for the record. I'm with the Research Division of LCB. I'm the forum coordinator. And a quick disclaimer, as nonpartisan staff, I can neither advocate for nor against a measure that comes before the forum. I will provide a short overview of the work session and the work session document. Each member should have the work session document in your meeting materials that are on your desks. And like I just said, the forum can determine for each recommendation what actions it wishes to take. Each item in this document is really subject to further discussion, modification, or action. I want to note the forum is limited to one legislative measure or a bill draft request, in short, a BDR. So any recommended legislation proposed by the forum must be approved by a majority of the members. The members may also vote to send as many letters of recommendation or support as it chooses and include position statements in its final report. And with that, President Jordan, I will now walk the forum through the recommendations in the work session document. Starting with pages 2 and 3 of the work session document, the forum may choose which of the first 2 recommendations, A and B, will become the BDR to submit to the 2027 legislature. After I present the first 2 recommendations, President Jordan will ask for a raise of hands to show preference for either recommendation A or B. Once we have determined which recommendation has the greater show of hands, President Jordan will then ask for a motion. The remaining recommendation may be alternatively considered for sending a letter of recommendation or support, including a statement in the final report, or taking no further action. And President Jordan, with your permission, I will now summarize both recommendations.
You have my approval.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan. For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. The first recommendation A is to request the drafting of a BDR that creates the Nevada Access to Transportation Program for seniors and individuals with disabilities administered by the Aging and Disability Services Division in the Department of Human Services. It would allow for the statewide expansion of the existing taxi assistance program, add a new voucher program for rideshare companies, and authorize the division to establish or fund any other direct transportation initiative that aims to improve access to transportation for seniors. This recommendation was proposed by President Jordan based on testimony related to the taxi assistance program by representatives of ADSD at the June meeting of the forum. The other recommendation B, which is the alternative BDR option, is to cap rent increases at 5% for 3 years for tenants who are 65 years or older, or who are Social Security beneficiaries, and who also qualify for Medicaid. This recommendation was proposed by Marcy Kupfersmith, a senior advocate at the forum meeting in February. And for your information, members, I want to note that last week on Monday, August 17th, the Legislative Committee on Senior Citizens, Veterans, and Adults with Special Needs already requested a similar BDR as recommendation B1, which relates to rent increases for seniors. The forum can only choose one of these two BDR options, A or B. President Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Ashton. In reference to committee members, number A1, requesting a draft for that particular BDR request. I'm asking committee members, are there any questions regarding the recommendation? Mr. Troth.
Yes, on this first BDA, is there any other groups, any other forums that we're discussing or having any information or desires on a similar BDA for number one?
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. For number A1, the taxi assistance program, I'm not aware of any other committee that has taken up this recommendation. I know from stakeholders who said that at an interim finance committee meeting last year, 2025 in the summer, it was discussed. They also reported back to the IFC, the interim finance committee, this summer with a report, but I'm not aware of any BDR legislation that has come out of that so far.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to clarify. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashton. We will now look at the second recommendation under B, stable rent increases for seniors with fixed incomes. Do we have comments for that? Any recommendations? Mr. Troth?
Yeah, Madam Chairman, I would suggest that we take number B, which has already had an approval by another group, that we go ahead and terminate or, move that to a letter and use that method to express our desires with the legislature. And I would nominate to do such.
Thank you, Mr. Troth. That is something that we've been looking at carefully. Since we have another committee that's already had an approval and passed that as a BDR, I don't think that we at this time want to second that. I think we want to move on to perhaps consider the letter. So at this time, I would like to extend to the forum and ask for a motion for us to consider that before we move on to accept anything else.
Madam Chair.
I'll entertain a motion at this time. Mr. Troth.
I would move that we make this a letter and not as a BDA. Put that motion out.
Do I have a second?
I would second.
I'll second it.
Who's speaking, please?
Kathy McAdoo.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm moving my laptop, and so I turned the screen off so you guys won't be
Oh, okay.
bouncing everywhere.
That's okay, Ms. McAdoo. We just didn't see you, so what we heard from you, so that's fine. So at this time, I
Thank
have
you.
a motion from Mr. Tross, second by Ms. McAdoo, for us to consider writing a letter in support of stabilization. Can we have a vote on that at this time? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. That passes unanimously. So let us go back and look at our initial one. Mr. Ashton, you want to go over this a little bit more, please?
Thank you. For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. In what detail would you like me to summarize each of these items, Dr. Jordan?
What we have here is our A1 drafting access to transportation. Are there any questions regarding expanding and modifying the taxi assistance program? Mr. Slaughter.
Frank Slaughter, District 11. How can taxi assistant programs be expanded to better serve our seniors?
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Under recommendation A1, item C, this recommendation would require the Aging and Disability Services Division to administer the program in accordance with regulations it will adapt. And these regulations require there is a needs assessment done. Based on this needs assessment that evaluates the transportation needs of seniors in Nevada, there will be a level of priority determined. And then based on that, you can see in recommendation 1D that the division should go ahead and expand and also fund other transportation initiatives based on that needs assessment. So first, there are regulations that require that. Second, the division would need then to go ahead and based on the needs assessment, fund these transportation initiatives and expand also the taxi assistance program. I also want to note that the Deputy Administrator of the Aging and Disability Services Division, Ms. Pasquale, she's on the Zoom. So if you have any other questions regarding the existing taxi assistance program, you may direct questions to her as well for members. Thank you.
Forum members, do we have any interest in having our representative speak on this issue at this time?
Sure, I would.
A question, Madam Chairman. Just for my own information, we've been referring to the taxi authority. Are there other forms of transportation that will be utilized in addition to a driven taxi? There are many forms of transportation available to the average citizen now, and I'm wondering if this will cover those other potential options.
Mr. Ashton.
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Thank you for the question, Mr. Silva-Kraus. Under item 1D, there it tells pretty much that the BDR would fund the existing taxi assistance program, which is currently limited to Southern Nevada, but it would expand it to other areas of the state based on the level of priority from the needs assessment. The other item says to create and fund a similar voucher program that may be used with transportation network companies. Transportation network companies are Uber and Lyft. So since they took a large share of these transportation in the state, it could expand to also these transportation network companies. And the third option is also to establish or fund any other direct transportation initiative that aims to improve access to transportation for seniors and adults, individuals with disabilities throughout Nevada, giving the division flexibility to decide what are really the most valuable transportation initiatives based on the levels of priority through that needs assessment that you see in item C of the recommendation. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it does. Just as a follow-on, lately we've heard a lot about these autonomous vehicles that don't require a driver, and vehicles can be literally delivered to your home, used autonomously, and then returned. Is there any plan or possibility that that as an option might also be utilized?
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. It appears with the current flexibility in the recommendation under item D, 1D, yes, that could be a possibility for the division to evaluate in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ashton. I would like our members to pay attention to the request, the drafting of legislation for this particular measure, and look at item 1A, B, C, D, and E in terms of selecting this as our 1 BDR. Please let us know if you have any other questions.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
The chair recognizes Mr.
That would
Schoenwelder.
be Dr. Schunkweiler here in Carson City. Thank you.
Yes, we'd like to hear from Mr.
My
Schoenwelder.
pronouns are she and
Welcome.
her, just in case. Yes, I would like to direct a question. Having read through the BDR proposal here, I would like to know how this would address the needs of the aging population and disabled population in our rural areas where taxi cabs don't exist and networking, Uber and Lyft rarely exist also.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Ashton.
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. If this BDR were to pass with this funding, it would be up to the division to go ahead and make a needs assessment and then see also what are possibilities in other areas of the state, like rural areas of the state. I want to remind members at this meeting in June, there was a discussion about like volunteers, a volunteer network program that would provide transportation. Maybe funding could be used potentially by the division to fund such initiatives in other areas of the state where no Uber or Lyft is available. Just as an example, Dr. Schunkweiler. Thank you.
Dr. Schoenwelder, does that answer your question, or do you have anything further?
It does in a way. I just think that the BDR and the proposed BDR in general is rather limited in its focus on where the seniors population who have the greatest needs. Just as a reminder to the forum members, the transportation program that Mr. Ashton just mentioned currently doesn't reimburse volunteer drivers. It only provides reimbursement for one way of a trip that could be several hundred miles because that's just the way it's set up now. So I still have some hesitations about how this would serve our senior citizens in those rural and underserved areas.
Thank you so much, Dr. Schoenwelder, for the question. And we've looked into this, but we wanted to open up the door so that we can begin some action because we do realize that we do not have a lot of services to our rural and frontier and community. So thank you again. Are there any other questions? Mr. Slaughter.
My last question was, what changes would make the program easier to use, if any?
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Changes to the program, I mean, a critical part of this recommendation is the additional funding and providing more flexibility to the division to fund transportation initiatives. To what degree, how else it may be improved, I think that would be more up for a stakeholder from ADSD to answer that question.
Thank you, Mr. Ashton. Are there any other questions? At this time, I will entertain a motion.
Red Silvercross, Senate District 5. I would move that we accept option A as the preferred and item suggestion for our BDR for the upcoming session.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Huh?
For the record, Member Paul Larson, second.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. We have, at this time, do we have any further discussion? With that, I will take a vote. All those in favor? At this time, we will take a vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed? All those opposed? Yeah, thank you so much. The motion passes. Thank you. Let us move to the second phase of what we're doing.
Excuse me, Dr. Jordan, for the record, Patrick Ashton. I think there was one nay vote that we could see here from Las Vegas, Dr. Schonkweiler. I just wanted to confirm that for the record. You were a nay vote, is that correct?
Yes, I was.
Thank you. Any other nay votes from members on Zoom? Okay, thank you, Dr. Jordan.
Thank you. We will now look at C1, Public Assistance Program for Social Security. Mr. Ashton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan. For the record, Patrick Ashton. So the following recommendations, members, are letters or statements of support for certain policy issues the forum heard and discussed during this interim. On page 4, recommendation C1 is to send a letter to Nevada's congressional delegation urging timely legislative action to fix the Social Security program's financing gap and keep it solvent long term. This recommendation was proposed by Forum President Jordan. Thank you.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion for approval of us sending a letter.
So moved. Michelle Johnson.
Johnson is
District 6.
District 6 is proposing the motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Patrick Thorne, District 12.
And we have a second. Mr. Thorne, thank you. Before we take the vote, is there any other discussion? I just want to make sure everybody has a chance to speak on the issue before we say. Yes, Mr. Larson.
Thank you, Madam President. My question is, are we advocating a specific solution or approach, or simply asking them to timely do something to make sure the program stays solvent?
We're sending a letter of support. I don't think that we can do anything more than that, as this is a national issue. Mr. Larson, is there anything that you'd like to recommend that it changed or amended?
No, I think our recommendation is kind of consistent with the answers we got from AARP, which they were simply urging Congress to do their job as opposed to advocating a specific policy. So I just wondered if we were advocating a specific approach or simply urging support and sort of parallel to that articulated by the AARP presentation.
Thank you for those comments. We're advocating for support. Do we have any other questions? At this time, we will take a vote. Okay, me and this microphone are having a fight today. Sorry. At this time, we will take a vote on sending a letter in support of Public Assistance Program number C1 for long-term solvency. All those in favor, please raise your hands.
Well, how do you do that? Oh, it's in.
Thank you. Do we have any negative votes this time? Seeing none, the motion passes. Thank you. We will now look at number C2, the Public Assistance Program known as SNAP, Cost Shift Delay. We are recommending sending a letter to the state asking for us to address this issue. Please take a look at that. Again, that is number C2. Mr. Ashton, will you speak on that, please?
Thank you. For the record, Patrick Ashton. Recommendation C2 is to send a letter to Nevada's congressional delegation, urging them to pass a 2-year delay on new SNAP cost shifting rules from HR 1, which would cost Nevada $44 million or more per year and affect nearly 58,000 senior households. This recommendation was proposed by Kira Fincher from 3 Square, the food bank here in Southern Nevada. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Forum President.
Thank you, Mr. Ashton. Are there any questions, concerns about this particular letter? The floor recognizes Ms. Johnson.
Hi, Michelle Johnson, District 6. I'm not sure that you have an answer to this, but do we know why the payment error is below 6% or it's unable to lower below 6%?
Did everybody hear the question? You want to repeat that for us?
I'm wondering why the additional cost burden for Nevada would increase by 44 million or more per year if the state's unable to lower its payment error rate below 6%. Have we any idea why the state's error rate is not below 6% at this point?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Ashton. You want to address it, please?
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. So this recommendation and the payment error rate that was passed by federal legislation last year. So starting in October 2027, states will need to contribute between 5 and 15% to benefit costs if their respective payment error rate is 6% or higher, and it's like a schedule. And while Nevada's error rate is among the lowest nationwide, this payment error rate still fluctuated between 5.94 to 7.22% since 2022. And estimates show that Nevada's cost share would increase by around 44 million per year if the state is unable to lower this payment error rate below 6%. An even higher payment error rate could result in cost share contributions of up to 132 million annually. And this was based on testimony from Deputy Administrator Cantrell from DSS, the Division of Social Services, Department of Human Services, at the April meeting of the Nevada Silver-Haired Legislative Forum. Does that answer your question, Ms. Johnson?
Thank you, Ms. Johnson, for the question. Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, I would like to ask our forum. Do we have a motion first?
Frank Slaughter, District 11, I motion.
Thank you, Mr. Slaughter. Do we have a second? Thank you, Mr. Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Donna
Is
Darden,
Robert
second.
Linden, the record, I'll second.
Who made the second? Can we have a second? Who's making that second motion? Oh,
Robert Linden,
thank you so much, Mr. Linden. We have a motion on the floor. It's been moved and second. At this time, we will take a voice vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Thank you. Those opposed? Two people are opposed. We have Mr. Shoka and Ms. Morales. Martinez. Thank you. The ayes have it. Thank you so much. I just want to remind everybody that all of this information was sent out. So I hope everybody had a chance to review it ahead of time. That was our purpose for our work session today, to have everybody look over this with questions and have an understanding of what we were voting on today. And this being our last session, we didn't have too much of an opportunity to really go over some of this. That's why I wanted to make sure everybody had a chance to see it ahead of time. This number, moving on to number C3, public assistance, food insecurity among seniors who receive SNAP benefits. Mr. Ashton, you want to speak on that, please? Thank you.
Thank you, President Jordan. For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Recommendation C3 is to send a letter to the governor, the chairs of the Senate and Assembly Committees on Health and Human Services, and the DHS director to support broader SNAP access for seniors, which are detailed in sub-items 3A through 3D in the work session document. Further, the recommendation is to urge the governor and the DHS director to seek all federal authority for adjustments to the SNAP formula by tailoring them to seniors' actual living expenses, which are listed in details in sub-items 3E through 3H in the work session document. This recommendation was proposed by President Jordan based on testimony from the Food Bank of Northern Nevada at the first meeting of the forum in November last year. Thank you, Dr. Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Ashton. Do we have any discussion? Item C3, I entertain a motion. Ms. Johnson?
Michelle Johnson, District 6. I move to accept what you've offered as the.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Do we have a second? Ms. Martinez seconds the motion. Thank you so much. We have made a motion. We have a second. At this time, we will take a vote. All those in favor of voice, please raise your hand. At this time, we will vote. We will have a voice vote with your hands raised. Please let us be seen so that we can count. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. We are now in this work session moving to item D1, multi-sector planning for the aging. Let me just say that in looking at the various presentations and letters, and all of the folks coming forth to explain what it is that we need to support and how we can help, it was discussed that we would send letters out in support of those things because we only have one BDR. And we would like people to know where the forum is headed based on the presentations. So that's why we have a multitude of letters on our docket this morning. Again, Mr. Ashton, would you please highlight D1 for us? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan. For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Recommendation D on page 5 of the work session document is to send a letter supporting a statewide coordinated plan that aligns healthcare, housing, transportation, and workforce policy around Nevada's aging population. This recommendation was proposed by President Jordan based on testimony from the Aging and Disabilities Services Division at the forum meeting in April. Thank you, Dr. Jordan.
Thank you for that explanation. At this time, do we have any discussion on D1? Mr. Slaughter.
Frank Slaughter, District 11. Just one question. How can agencies coordinate more efficiently to support aging residents?
Mr. Ashton.
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. I think we have a subject matter expert on Zoom, the Deputy Administrator of ADSD, Ms. Pasquale. So maybe she would be available to answer that question in more detail, if you like, Dr. Jordan.
Thank Ms. Pasquale, are you available?
Yes, good afternoon. This is Cheyenne Pasquale for the record. My apologies, I did not hear the question. Could it be repeated, please?
Frank Slaughter, District 11. Yes, I can. How can agencies coordinate more efficiently to support aging residents?
So this is Cheyenne Pasquale for the record. The multi-sector plan on aging is a tool that's being used by a number of states to really help identify what are the existing efforts and then where are there gaps and opportunities to coordinate better. And so what happens with the multi-sector plan on aging is through a series of community meetings, stakeholder engagements, and conversations with partners across a variety of sectors. And that's how we determine the goals and the activities of the plan. And then we use that plan as our strategy. Most states use it as a 10-year strategy to improve coordination of services.
Thank you.
Ms. Pasquale, we thank you so much for being available to answer the questions. We appreciate your being here this afternoon. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to send a letter on behalf of multi-sector planning for the aging.
Thorne District 12, I would so move.
Mr. Thorne has made a motion and we thank him for that. Can I entertain a second?
Mr. Smith,
the
the
motion.
North would second.
Mr. Smith, thank you so much. We have made a motion. It's been second. We will now take a vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand and voice your opinion.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Opposed? Looks unanimous. Thank you so much. This motion has passed. D1. The next motion, we had extensive discussion on this in our earlier sessions this year on dementia care, the specialist pilot program. And Mr. Ashton will highlight what took place.
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Recommendation E1 is to send a letter supporting permanent funding for at least 5 dementia support specialists in each of Nevada's 5 behavioral health regions, building on a pilot program and similar to a bill considered in 2025. And this recommendation was proposed by Ms. Wizard of UNR's DEER program and Dr. Reed, chair of the task force on Alzheimer's disease. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ashton. Is there any discussion on E1, dementia care pilot program? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. We have one. Ms. Doyle, are you wishing to speak on this issue?
Yeah, I just have a question for Mr. Ashton. Kathleen Doyle, Senate District 16. Could you please define the five behavioral health regions in Nevada?
Thank you for that question. Mr. Ashton, would you please respond? Thank you.
Thank you for the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Thank you for the question, Ms. Doyle. So what are these regional behavioral health regions? There was legislation several sessions ago that divided Nevada into 5 distinct behavioral health regions that are overseen by regional behavioral health policy boards. And these boards are composed of community leaders, law enforcement, healthcare, and treatment providers, and they for each of their region come up with issues regarding behavioral health initiatives. They collect data, they come up with policies, and for each region, they are allowed to submit one BDR similar to the forum for each legislative session. And the regions are, for Washoe County, there's one region, then there's the rural behavioral health region, which is more in the northeast part, including Elko. The northern behavioral health region, which includes Carson City, Douglas, Lyon, and Story County, and Churchill County. Southern behavioral health region, which is Mineral, Esmeralda, Nye, and Lincoln County. And then the Clark County region in the south. I hope that answers your question. Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
Thank you, Mr. Ashton. Does that answer your question, Mrs. Doyle?
Yes, thank you. It did. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion for the acceptance of E1.
I'd like to propose that we accept this proposal. And so, yeah.
Is that Ms. Doyle? Ms. Doyle, is that you making the motion?
No, it's Gwen Schunkweiler.
Oh, okay. Dr. Schoenweiler is making a motion that we accept number E1. Is there a second to that motion?
Second, Mr.
Ms.
Smith
Johnson,
and
Ms.
Lenore.
Johnson's making a second to the motion. Or is there any discussion, any further discussion? At this time, we will take a vote. All those in favor, please extend your hands and voice in support of this motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Seeing no opposition, this motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Now we're moving to a statement. Ms. Mr. Ashton, would you kindly explain what a statement is as it regards to our voting?
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. On page 6 of the work session document, recommendation F is to include a statement in the form's final report supporting more independence and funding for the state's Advocacy Rights Attorney Office. And this recommendation was proposed by President Jordan based on testimony from Ms. Brennan, Advocacy Rights Attorney at ADSD DHS, who's present today at the meeting here in Las Vegas today as well. If you have any questions, members. So a statement would be included in the form's final report. The bulletin staff would draft this report after the conclusion of the interim, which includes a summary of all the meetings, testimony, as well as the work session items and the bill draft request, the form requested to be drafted. And that would be a statement included in that report. Thank you, Forum President.
Thank you, Mr. Ashton. Do we have any discussion on number F1 in terms of a statement expanding the rights of the Office of the Attorney for the rights of older persons and persons with physical disabilities and intellectual disabilities or developmental disabilities? Seeing none, I would like to entertain a motion for us to forward a statement on behalf of this recommendation. Anybody making?
This is Robert Linden, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Linden. We have Mr. Linden. Is there a second?
Michelle Johnson, District 6. I second the movement.
Ms. Johnson is seconding the motion. Thank you very much for that. Is there any other discussion? We have a motion on the floor. We will recognize all those in favor of the motion. Please signify by saying aye, raising your hand.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Opposition? Opposition, opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. Thank you again. We're almost there. We're down to G1, which is a highlighted one. Funding for public transportation services for seniors. Mr. Ashton, will you kindly speak to that? Thank you.
For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Recommendation G1 is to send a letter urging the governor and the chairs of the money committees, the Senate Committee on Finance and the Assembly Committee on Ways and Means, to increase funding for senior and disability transportation services in order to avoid cuts to services or cost increases. And this recommendation was proposed by President Jordan based on testimony from regional transportation authorities at the June meeting of the forum. Thank you, for President.
Thank you so much for that. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion in support of G1, a letter funding for public transportation services for seniors. I make a motion. Do we have anybody that wants to make a motion on behalf of this letter for public transportation?
Michelle Johnson.
Robert Linden, for the record, and I so moved.
Mr. Linden, is that you speaking?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Do we have a second?
Yeah, Roger Trotham, District 18, second that motion.
Thank you so much. Is there any further discussion on this motion? Thank you, Mr. Troth. Seeing none, we will take a vote. Please recognize, raise your hands, and all those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. The last of our two letters address housing. So, Mr. Ashton, if you will take H1. for further explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Recommendation H1 is to send a letter to the governor and the chairs of the Senate and Assembly Committees on Government Affairs, urging them to pursue various policy options related to housing affordability as listed in sub-items 1A through E in the work session document. This recommendation was proposed by President Jordan based on testimony from the Quinn Center at the forum meeting in February. Madam President.
Thank you. We talk and spoke extensively about housing, and so is there any discussion about this particular motion?
I do.
Mr. Slaughter?
Frank Slaughter, District 11. Some of the questions I had, like, I visited a couple of, a factory in Las Vegas that makes affordable homes, the modular homes. And that was one of my recommendations as to help will help with the homeless situation among seniors, the small modular homes, and they're relatively inexpensive. And the other thing is, today when I turned on the radio and I noticed that rents in Las Vegas have dropped substantially from 2023. So it looks like, my question is, what strategies can reduce homelessness among low-income seniors? How can Nevada increase affordable housing options for older seniors? And also, last, but what participation are most effective in addressing, what partnerships are most effective in addressing senior homelessness? It's a lot.
Thank you for that question, Mr. Slaughter. Mr. Ashton? Okay. You should be making medicine. Not speaking on it. Mr. Ashton is looking at his notes. As you can see, many of these recommendations were proposed by us and particularly by me, because I felt it was necessary for us to respond. We've had a session, a series of sessions speaking to housing, transportation, SNAP, transportation, all of these things. And I think that we needed to follow up. One of the questions Mr. Thorne asked earlier was, we make these recommendations and we request updates. And sometimes we really don't have an opportunity to get any updates. So by sending letters, I'm hoping we get some responses from the letters. So please bear with me and wonder why I'm doing this, but if we don't hear anything, then we don't do anything. Mr. Ashton, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Jordan. For the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Vice President Slaughter, thank you for your question. There are a variety of options that were explored at the February meeting of the forum and that were discussed in detail. So I don't know to what extent the forum wants to discuss that. At this point, I would recommend every forum member to go back to the meeting materials, and I would be happy to send them to all of you to take a closer look. I also would recommend, there's the Nevada Housing Coalition that presented on that and has specific recommendations. They, for instance, submitted written public comment for the meeting today that I think came in so late today that it may not be in your meeting package or posted yet, but it will be posted after this meeting today. And they had similar concerns that for seniors living on fixed incomes, even modest rent increases can force really hard choices for them when it comes between housing, medication, food, and transportation. And in their public comment they provided today, they have several policy options they would encourage to take the forum to support. And you can take a look at that one too. But again, in detail, to get in detail on it, you could go back to the February meeting, look at this public comment from today, or if there are any further questions, I would be happy to follow up after this meeting to go into more detail on that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashton. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion for us to address H1, housing affordability and homelessness, housing policy options.
I would,
Mr. Slaughter has entertained a motion to pass number H1. Is there a second to this motion?
Michelle Johnson.
I will second it.
Ms. McAdoo has seconded that motion. We thank her very much for that. At this time, do we have any discussion? Seeing none and thanking Ms. McAdoo and Mr. Slaughter, we will entertain a vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Thank you. Opposed? Seeing no opposition, the motion passes. And friends, we're down to number H2. Again, a housing affordability letter about homelessness, which we heard about this morning as it relates to our senior citizens and our veterans. Is there any discussion? Mr. Ashton will summarize this for us. Thank you.
for the record, Patrick Ashton, Research Division, LCB. Members, on page 7 of the work session document, you find recommendation H2, which is to send a letter to the governor, the director of Nevada's Department of Veteran Services, and the Nevada Association of Counties. The letter shall urge increased coordination between state and local agencies to secure stable housing for senior citizens and elderly veterans experiencing homelessness. And this recommendation was proposed by President Jordan. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you so much. At this time, is there any discussion? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Frank Slaughter, District.
I so move.
I motion.
Mr. Slaughter has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Madam Chair, Roger Trot, District 18, second.
Mr. Troth has seconded the motion. Any further discussion on this item? Number H2, housing affordability and homelessness. Seeing none, I will have entertain, forget entertain, just all those in favor, please say aye and recognize.
Aye.
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 Thank you so much. Opposition? Seeing none, this motion has passed. Thank you so much for your time and your support on these critical letters and statements today. I can't thank you enough. As I said earlier, this is somewhat of a culmination of what we experienced during our interim sessions this time. And it's good to be able to move forward knowing that we're asking questions and following up on things that address our senior citizens. We will now take a 5-minute break. We've had a very busy morning, and at this time, We will now move to public comment. Agenda item number 7. I am opening our second public comment period. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Forum members, please keep in mind that public comment is reserved for members of the public. When providing public comment, clearly state and spell your name for the record. We will start with public comment from those in physical meeting locations and then move to public comment for anyone who has called in. Is there anyone in Carson City who would like to provide public comment? Hearing none, is there anyone in Las Vegas who would like to provide public comment?
Venkat Virappan, MD, Fun.
Hearing none. At this time, our AVH, please add the first caller if we have any public comment to the meetings.
Thank you. If you would like to participate in public comment today, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you so much, AVH. At this time, we will move to agenda item number 8, adjournment.
Madam Chair, Roger Troth, District 8. I move that we adjourn for this session.
I second it. Kathy McAdoo.
Mr. Troth, you weren't recognized, but I appreciate the fact that you said that. I have a few closing words. I would like to take this opportunity to express my thanks and great appreciation to each of our forum members for their dedication, commitment, and interest in exploring ways, ideas, and actions in support of our Nevada senior citizens. It has been my pleasure to work with you during this interim session, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the near future. We want to extend a big thank you to Mr. Slaughter, our Vice President. Kudos to Mr. Smith, our Northern Facilitator, and Ms. Johnson, our Southern Facilitator, for their hard work during this session. And of course, we cannot go without saying to Mr. Ashton, Ms. Garcia, Ms. Jimenez, and Mr. Colomé, how much we appreciate their support and help during this interim session. They have been invaluable. I really don't know what I would do if we didn't have the wonderful support of Mr. Ashton. You are all greatly appreciated, and hopefully we will have the chance to work together again in the near future. And Mr. Troth, you can now amend the meeting.
My apologies, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn this session of the interim forum.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Over.
Aye.
Okay.
Happy New Year, guys.
Thank you.